Hello, I'm Carole Owens, and this is Stockbridge Updates. You know, in this holiday season, filled with good food, good cheer, good family gatherings, I've been thinking a lot about incivility. I think what brought it to mind was at a presser, the President of the United States called a female reporter Piggy. And that was not more than a day or so after he called another reporter stupid. And the reason I was thinking about it is this what we want? And I think what's important about it is it works. Incivility works. The quick little jab, the name calling, the accusation, groundless or otherwise, it sticks. And I think we should be very careful. I'll give you an example. The press has been a very popular butt of bad jokes and name calling in the first Trump administration and now in the second one. And at the same time, people have begun to say, I don't know what to believe. I don't know who's reporting to trust. I try to check more than one source, and I try to find the truth for myself. But you know what? This is not the age of Walter Cronkite, the most trusted man in America. So I say from my heart, happy holidays to all of you, and let's cut out the incivility. It's hurting us all. I have the greatest guest. I am so thrilled. It's Peter Dillon, who is our superintendent of the Berkshire Hills Regional School District, and he has just had a well-earned and perfectly marvelous victory. Peter, welcome.
Hi, Carol. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about all the good news.
Yeah, I mean, the great news is after about 15 years of working towards a new high school, this past November 4th, the three towns overwhelmingly approved with a 78% approval rating. The building of a new high school, and we couldn't be happier about it.
You know, it's a wonderful thing because we express our values with how we spend our money, especially governmentally. This is what we believe in, so this is what we want our taxes to go for. And we took on a chunk of money to do something that we really believe in, and by gosh, I believe in it too. Good education is number one.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, right? There's a sort of common saying, as schools go, so go the community, and the voters and taxpayers really invested quite significantly in moving this forward.
And I think the community will benefit from that. And I'm wondering, because you're in the catbird seat, right, you know more about this than anybody. Yeah. What do you see as the advantages specifically? Because I agree with you. There are tremendous advantages to education, but let's drill down a little.
Yeah, I mean, as we tried to make the argument, which ultimately worked, I think a number of things were important. One was that students deserve and have a right to have and be educated in a space that's safe and light-filled, and environmentally sustainable, and all these things, right? Things that matter, and that it says that we value our young people by investing in them. At the same time, we used the opportunity for a new building to expand our existing programs. So we've always had really strong academic programs, and we have a history of vocational programs, but we really expanded those. So there are vocational programs in automotive, automotive, in horticulture, and in early childhood education. We got permission from the state to add a fourth one to prepare electricians. So now we'll have 4 fully certified Chapter 74 programs. So in addition to sending students to some of the best colleges in the country, we're also going to send students right into the trades, which will set them up to have really productive, fruitful lives in our community. And particularly automotive and electrical are really high needs areas, right? When was the last time you tried to get an electrician into your own house, right? And so to prepare 10 or 15 students a year that graduate ready to go into the electrical field is really going to be impactful.
You know, and we're coming to a time where more and more people are recognizing that there are different paths for different students, and it's all worthy of regard and respect. You know, everybody in my family had a doctorate of some description or another, and Papa used to sit at the head of the table and said if we had any brains, we all would have been plumbers.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about that they can earn a good living and be employed very quickly in the marketplace. But the other part of that is it's a service to the community.
Yeah, no, and we looked at the workforce data and talked to the work board and all these things. The current electricians are about to retire, right, and age out of the profession. So there's really a compelling need for them to do it. And it also lets people stay in our communities, which is really important.
And get trained in our communities. Yeah. You know, I was so surprised to learn in another area of importance, firemen and EMTs, there's a partial EMT program. There's a partial fireman program locally.
Right.
There's only an EMT program outside of our county, finishing off for the certification of fireman, whatever that is. Part of that is out of the community. We need all of this. This is wonderful that you're doing it.
Yeah. So we're really excited about it. And I think the young people are really excited about it, right?
Well, I had 2 young people from Monument. I think they were both seniors. One was a student from Ukraine who was in the tract to be auto repair.
Right.
Very excited about it, very thrilled that kind of training was in the school, but pointed out that the ceilings are not high enough in the old building to accommodate all that he had to learn. And really, really excited that there would be adequate space. And the training would even be better as a function of the building. The other fellow was on the academic track. But and there was a sense of camaraderie that I credit you and your teachers with, that these students see themselves as one community, regardless of other differences. And I think that was hard to do in this environment, and I think you did something to bring that about.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about it, what excites me so much is at a time when on the national level, politics are very complicated and very divisive. Folks are coming together around this, right? They see a sense of optimism and hope, and I think that's really important and compelling. And there was that expression like the think globally or act. Right. The globally, locally thing, right?
Exactly.
And I think what we've done here is we've demonstrated that we have significant control and authority in our own community or across our 3 towns, and folks exercise that. And we may not be able to impact giant change, but we were able to impact significant change in our own community.
You know, but in my writing for the Eagle and for Stockbridge Updates, I've really been concentrating on this, and I really give you very high marks in bringing that about We can be effective locally. I am pretty doggone sure that none of us are going to sit down to dinner with our president or vice president or even any of our senators. Maybe, but probably not. But locally, we know you. We know all our elected representatives. They are our neighbors. We can talk to them one-on-one. Locally, we can make a change. And I honestly believe that change goes from the bottom up. I recognize the power of going from the top down, but I think we make a difference too. And I think you've done that in the schools so well. All the kids I talk to are so wonderful in that regard. That's their community. That's their community of students. They don't see all these big divisions and so forth, and God bless them for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think we work hard at it. We're lucky, and we're also blessed, right? So the teachers and paraprofessionals that work directly with students have a huge impact. The school committee of 10 members from the 3 towns has a huge impact. The building committee of 16 members, and then all these other subgroups and ad hoc subcommittees, all those people working together made a huge difference. On top of that, and this is sort of more for the campaign, there was a very effective Yes Committee, which worked really hard to get out the vote, and we would have meetings for as few as 5 people in Pilates studios and at senior centers and at the libraries, and they'd knock on people's doors and try to explain what was going on. And I really feel good because I think in this one instance, like the people that put in the effort, that really worked hard, they won the day.
Yeah, and I think it's a process that's winning. In 2024, a friend of mine ran for state office, and there were state advisors about what to do. And it wasn't about some kind of big rally or spending lots of money or something or another. It was about knocking on a door, sitting down in a living room if there were 3 people, and they would explain that was the absolute most effective. The only thing that was more effective than doing it that way, whether you're campaigning for an issue or for an office, the only thing possibly that was more effective was word of mouth. Well, I'm going to vote for the school. How about you?
Right.
That kind of thing. So that the regular social things are still very, very powerful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fundamentally like democracy at its core, right? Is to get a lot of good conversations going on, build momentum, give people clear and honest and transparent facts, and then they make an informed decision. And what was so refreshing and energizing about this was we tried this 12, 13 years ago with a very different outcome. And I think we had stronger architects and a stronger support team. But what we really did was we used those 13 years to address almost every single concern somebody had from before. And people recognize that, which is great.
I think that's wonderful. I think a dialogue between voters and representatives or service providers is so powerful, and it works every time when both listen to one another.
Right.
It's just great. I was thinking about next year is our 250th anniversary. Or is it a birthday? It's a country.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a birthday or an anniversary. It's 250 years. Have you ever thought, of course you've thought about, the essential role that the Enlightenment and education played in this country becoming what it is?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think about it a lot. The funny thing about the 250th is I'm not that old, But at the bicentennial, I had the good fortune to be on a sailing ship, and they did that like the tall ships thing, and there were all the sailing ships.
And you were on one of the tall ships?
I got to be on one of the tall ships,
my gosh.
and I was 9 or 10 or something. And it really stood out in my memory, right? So the 250th is even a bigger deal than the 200th that I remember quite clearly.
Yeah.
And making sense of that particularly this time, like as a country, as a commonwealth, in the town of Stockbridge, Great Barrington and West Stockbridge, it's really important. And I know there's some interesting things going on. There's some plays that are going to happen. There's a big thing happening with the Knox Trail and dragging the cannons.
Ollie's doing something.
Yeah. And I hope like that combined with Ken Burns' recent series on the American Revolution, I hope it's an opportunity for us to all take stock and see where we've drifted away from their vision and where we can do better.
Oh, how clever of you to say that. And yes, and we can learn from both.
Right.
We can learn from both. What held, to what do we still adhere? Because I'll tell you something. People keep saying, well, it's not just in this country, but, authoritarianism or whatever the word of the day is happening in other countries. We're very different because we have more than 250 years. First, of wanting to be democratic and free, and then of fighting for it, and then bringing it about step by step by step. We have that experience, and that's deep inside us. And I am absolutely confident that we are not going finally in some other direction, but that finally we will return to democracy. And what you said is just at the core, to remember specifically where we adhered and where we fell away and nudge it back.
Yeah. No, and it's cyclical, right? So on the radio this morning I heard that today was or we're coming up on the 70th anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott, right?
Yes,
so that's a powerful image in all our minds. And Montgomery has a new black mayor who's taking this seriously. So how do we build on things like that and move forward? And we got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. And what about what's the name of the bridge they went across?
Oh, the Pettus Bridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Pettus Bridge. Those are the images that I just remember sitting pop-eyed in front of the television screen thinking, oh my God, this can't be happening. This cannot be happening. And then focusing on what those folks were doing and how they were trying to express, the right to vote.
Right, and it changed everything, right? Like those moments changed everything. And then we have moments like today where we take a step or two backwards, and then hopefully that catalyzes us and organizes us to move forward and reaffirm some things that matter.
And back to the schools and the teachers and their aides. So nice if there was some kind of training or something during the 250th or a coming together to crystallize this and say, take this back to all your students. Because we have memory. We remember this country before. We can see the difference now. Our kids don't.
Right.
Our grandkids don't. So what a burden, but what a kind of happy burden for you all in the school to say, now kids, this is what the Founding Fathers were after. This is what these words mean. This is what an inalienable right is.
Right.
Right after you can pronounce it, we can define it. And to crystallize that for this next generation. What a joyful sort of job you have.
Yeah, on the good days, it's the best job in the world. As I get ready to think about for a snow day tomorrow, it's like not my most fun day, but it's okay. And occasionally it can be really challenging and hard, right? But and I've said this before in other contexts, the challenge is to string together more good days than challenging days. And I look back, like I'm in my 17th year here, which is sort of unheard of for a small town superintendent to stay in one place that long. And I'm really happy that the bulk of my days have been very, very positive.
You know, I wonder. You and I have talked about this before. There are decisions you make which must be made, but someone's going to be unhappy.
Right.
And I do a little newspaper, and it's just, Stockbridge is just a village. It isn't even a city newspaper. No. But there are the same challenges, the same decisions that you have to make every school day, every newspaper issue, where somebody's going to be unhappy. And it's so great that you articulate the goal as string together more good days than bad days.
Right.
You really can't please everybody all of the time.
Yeah, I mean, so tomorrow I will or will not call a snow day, right? I don't think it can be a delay. And half or maybe a third of the people will be really happy with whatever decision I make. A third of the people will be really angry. And the middle third will be quiet. Like they'll roll with the punches. They don't care.
I've quoted that to everybody. Anybody ever trained as a therapist or had working in the newspaper, or my own children. It's the rule of three.
Yeah.
And do you know where that comes from? Because I've been using it my whole life, and I don't know where I got it.
We should research it and figure it out.
We should figure it out. Yeah. It's like etymology or something. Yeah. But folks, there's a rule of three. Whatever you do, a third are going to like it, a third are going to be really opposed, and a third are going to say, what are you talking about? They have no idea. And it's just good to remember that. It's a little bit of perspective. But, so what do you think? What's the basis for your decision on a snow day?
I'll talk to the highway superintendents. I'll read the weather report another 20 times between now and tomorrow.
Yes.
I think the big thing is wanting to set up people to be safe, right? And that really matters. The easy thing is we're at the beginning of the snow season, so using a day or two now is no big deal. And in all likelihood, we'll have a snow day tomorrow. In March or April, when we're 4 days done already, then it's a little harder.
It's more difficult. It's harder to call. Yeah. Well, I was born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you think you get snow here, but it's nothing.
Right.
You have to have been born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I don't know if you remember, but Lake Wobegon, Garrison Keillor. He used to talk about, he'd have a little story about his hometown, which he called Wobegon, which was, in fact, Minneapolis. And he would talk about snow days. And we had snow homes, I kid you not, so that around the school there were houses, and they would volunteer to be a snow home. So that if while you were in school, they didn't call snow day, unexpectedly there was a storm, and it was not safe or advisable for the school buses, you would go from the schoolyard to your snow home.
Oh, that's great.
It was great. Now, he told a story that must have been endemic for all of us, because I know I felt the same way. He always wanted to go to his snow home. because in his imagination, it was better than his house. The cookies were bigger, the mama was sweeter, whatever. And for Garrison Keillor and for me, we never got to go to our snow homes.
Yeah, very funny.
So the superintendent must have known his job because he called the snow days correctly.
Yeah.
Well, it's just such a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah.
And to look at your smiling face. And I do thank you so much. And congratulations on your win. How old are your children?
So my oldest is 27, the middle one's 24, and the youngest just started college, and he's 18.
So they're all through the school system,
Right.
and they went to Monument.
Yep, they all went to Monument.
They all went to Monument and survived and are flourishing.
Yeah, they're doing great, doing good things, which is wonderful. The oldest is a doctor. She's a surgery resident. The middle one is investment banking, and in Boston, and the youngest is out in college in California.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks, Carole. I really appreciate the time.
Good. It's been a pleasure.